I would first like to acknowledge the traditional owners, the Ngunnawal and the Ngambri people, and pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging, and to say also a special thank you because I live on their land at Mirramu. I've been there, this year I celebrate 30 years. It's a very special place, a very special land and lake where we have water. It's been my big teacher, and I thank the spirits also that are still around there for teaching me so much. I'm also very honoured to be the patron of Bowl 2, to graduate from poster girl to patron. And I thank Liz very much for inviting me into this position. I don't feel old, and I thank the dance for that, but I do take with great responsibility the sense of being a senior in our dance community here in Australia. I have to thank the Maori aunties in New Zealand for actually tipping me on the shoulder in 1990 when I was there for a dance choreographic conference, and they had insisted that dance elders from Australia were there. And I thought I was just a young thing in 1990. But the aunties made it very clear to me that I was now entering my seniority in the dance. And I thank them for that as well. And so now this particular wonderful festival, the only one in Australia that really respects the whole gamut of the dance ecology, where we can acknowledge our elders, our teachers, our mentors, and we have also our young, emerging and inspired young dancers as well. I think as patron, I want to say we need always to remember that life is a gift for us, and if dance has become a part of our life, that is a great gift. And as it's our responsibility as well as dancers and teachers, workers in the art form, to pass on the knowledge of this great gift. For me, dance has been in my most wonderful moments the greatest thing, but also in my darkest hours, it was the dance that helped pull me out. And so I have to thank dance from the very bottom of my being. I also want to say thank you to my elders and teachers in the dance. My very first dance teacher, Nora Stewart, also taught us, as well as the Russian style. She's very proud of the Russian style of ballet, and of course I just wanted to be a ballet dancer. But as well, we had Margaret Morris classes. We wore little tunics and we danced bare feet, and I loved all the choreographies that she made, and we used to dance in gardens and garden parties, but I didn't realise until decades later that Margaret Morris had been a pioneer of modern dance in England, and she had studied with Raymond Duncan, Isadora Duncan's brother, when they had just come back from Greece after their big study and research trip there. So embedded within Margaret Morris's technique were exercises that Isadora had developed. So as a tiny child of 3 and going on, I had Margaret Morris classes, so I realised I had the spirit of Isadora as well. Margaret Morris, Nora Stewart and Isadora were my earliest teachers. But later in Europe, I had other extraordinary mentors. One was Elio Pomare from America, whom I met in Germany and worked with him. And he introduced me also to the actual techniques of Martha Graham and Doris Humphrey. And so I switched heart and soul from a classical ballet technique into the modern. But I'd also seen Yulanova, the wonderful Russian classical dancer, and she was 55 and everyone said she's far too old, but she performed Giselle and I've never forgotten that. Other great inspiring people was Martha Graham. I saw her perform at 60. I saw Eric Hawkins also at 60. And then Kazuo Ono from Japan was another great inspirer who I felt like he handed me the torch to carry on. He was 91 when I met him. I was 60, beginning to lament the fact that I was no longer any good as a dancer. I had too many wrinkles, I couldn't lift my leg and I couldn't turn and balance. But when I came home from Japan, I went, Elizabeth, stop crying. You've got 31 years to catch up to Kazuo Ono. And so he's always sitting at my shoulder. But then I want to mention too that in 1988, I was invited to Mimili in the Central Desert as a guest at a very, very special Inma. And we were met at the bust by this wonderful old man with a long white beard, and he was walking like this with a walking stick to welcome us. And then that evening at Inma, as the sun was setting, we were all invited to sit around because the people had come from lots of different communities around. And then at one particular point we had to turn our backs while people got ready in my place, and then we could turn around, and then one of the earlier dancers, this man was dancing. It just blew me away, and I felt like he was this close to me and like speaking to my spirit. And I turned to my friend Ian, the musician who had actually been invited. I said, "Who is that?" Elizabeth, he said, "That's the elder who met us at the bus." I couldn't believe it, but I say thank you. He has been a big teacher to me, even though I don't remember his name and he would have no idea who I was. But now, as I get older and my feet don't walk so well, I get up and dance and let my spirit take over. So I've spoken enough. There are a lot of wonderful people coming to talk. I welcome you all as patron. I say thank you to Liz with her wonderful vision, and I wish you well. I hope you learn a lot and have a good time. Thank you.